Hello, and welcome to Once Upon a Time in Black History. I am your host, Tamara Shiloh, author, educator, and owner of the Multicultural Bookstore in Richmond, California, and Las Vegas, Nevada. You can also find us on my website at onceuponatimeInBlackHistory.com. Our shows are sponsored by the Multicultural Bookstore, and if you're interested in becoming a sponsor, please send me an email at tamarashiloh@gmail.com. Alrighty then, let's get this party started. Okay, today we're going to talk about Oscar Devereaux Micheaux, pioneer of independent cinema. Of the many creative people who collaborate on a motion picture, the director is regarded as the pivotal individual who serves as both the guiding force behind the project's effective content and box office success. Historically, Hollywood has opened its doors to only a small number of African American film directors. The first to break through the cinematic ceiling was author, film director, and independent producer Oscar Devereaux Micheaux. His first film, The Homesteader, 1919, a black and white silent movie, prompted a series of nationwide tours of black neighborhoods. An ad for the film placed in the Chicago Defender read, "Destined to mark a new era in achievements of the darker races." According to writer Will Sloan, the film's frank treatment of religion and miscegenation led to battles with censor boards and curiosity from audiences who had never encountered a film that dealt with such topics from a black point of view. Produced by Micheaux Film and Book Company of Sioux City in Chicago, The Homesteader, a film about black homesteaders in the Dakotas who falls in love with the daughter of a Scottish widower, quickly became a box office success. So much so that all available prints were played into deterioration. The boom in race film, as films made for black audiences were called then, production was born. As a filmmaker, Micheaux, who was born near Metropolis, Illinois, was considered 50 years ahead of his time. He left home at age 17 for Chicago, where he worked first as a waiter. Restless and dissatisfied, he would later work several jobs, including in the stockyards and the steel mill. But he craved independence. So after an employment agency swindled him out of $2, he decided to become his own boss. His first business was a shoe shine stand inside of a well-to-do black-owned barbershop. And that's where his exposure to the ins and outs of entrepreneurship and connections with wealthy white folks began. An avid reader, he drew inspiration from the works of Booker T. Washington and Horace Greeley, which moved him to acquire tracts of land in South Dakota, despite having no experience in farming. He also modeled his life after Booker T. Washington, who preached a philosophy of self-reliance for his race. This everyday life soon became the subject of Micheaux's work. As a homesteader, he penned his first novel, The Conquest, the story of a Negro pioneer. That was in 1913. Then later rewrote it as The Homesteader in 1917, initially publishing it anonymously. He then wrote about the social oppression he experienced as a young boy. It was the beginning of the motion picture industry that intrigued Micheaux as another vehicle to tell his stories. Now, his second silent film was Within Our Gates, produced in 1920. Although sometimes considered his response to the film, The Birth of a Nation, Micheaux said that he created it independently as a response to the widespread social instability following World War I. Within Our Gates revolved around the main character, Sylvia Landry, a mixed-race schoolteacher played by actress Evelyn Freer, whom there probably will be a podcast about. Micheaux adapted two works by Charles W. Chestnut, which he released under their original titles, The Conjure Woman in 1926 and The House Behind the Cedars in 1927. The House Behind the Cedars, which dealt with issues of mixed race and passing, created so much controversy when reviewed by the Film Board of Virginia that Micheaux was forced to make cuts to have it shown. He remade this story as a sound film in 1932, releasing it with the title Veiled Aristocrats. The silent version of the film is believed to have been lost. Through this medium, he would produce more than 44 films. Micheaux's work proved vital to the overall American consciousness by providing a diverse portfolio of non-stereotyped Black characters, as well as positive images and stories of African American life. His films were often used to oppose and discuss the racial injustice that African Americans received. Oscar Devereaux Micheaux died on March 25, 1951, in Charlotte, North Carolina, of heart failure. He was 67. Now imagine that. See you next time. Thank you for tuning in to Once Upon a Time in Black History. For more information on this topic and others, visit the Multicultural Bookstore at multiculturalbookstore.com. And again, if you want to advertise in our podcast for a mere $25, please contact me at tamarshiloh@gmail.com. See you next time.